Ring, ring, ring. Postman. Who this?
Cherry the worst. All right, you guys. So we're gonna start off with freshly washed hair. My hair was put into like two little plaits beforehand, and it was kind of flat iron, so it does look a little stiff, but I swear it's clean. So I started off with putting a part at the middle of my head because it really helps me find the parting, because I want my half up, half down style to be at the middle, if that makes sense. So basically sectioning my hair off into twos at the front of my head makes it so that it's easier to find. And right now I'm showing you guys that I basically found my parting. I wanted it to be at the back of my ear. That's the middle of my head for me. And it's not going to come out straight at first. It's definitely not going to come out straight. I put the back of my hair into an elastic band just to get it out of the way while I straighten up my parting. And I'm going to show you guys in a minute. It's really not straight. So I had to go off camera and fix it up a little bit. And then I came back on. I was like, voila, yeah, straight now. So watch out for the little straightways around your ear area, because that can really mess up your parting. And for the half up, half down, if you're doing a quick weave like me, you really want it to be straight, because as soon as it's not straight, it looks really weird looking. So make sure your parting is just straight. All right. So I put the front of my head into an elastic band and started working on the back. I'm going to put the back of my head. Oh yeah, this part was so unnecessary. I swear, you do not need any leave out at the back of your head. Right now I'm trying to make some leave out because I thought, in my head I was thinking, oh, people are going to see the top of my head and they're going to see the track at the top, and I didn't really want that. And so I left some of it out and put it into the bun at the top of my head to take out later. That's really not necessary. Don't do that. Skip this part in the tutorial. And we're moving on to me putting these braids in my head. I really do not know how to cornrow, so I was kind of embarrassed on the camera. But basically, I did my little cornrows, my struggle rolls, and I basically clipped them up and made sure they were nice and secured. And then I put my wig cap on top. So I just put my wig cap on like I usually would and had my bun holding it in the front. Make sure your wig cap is not over your ears. That was my mistake on this part. But after that, I took a white eyeliner pencil and kind of lined up where my parting was at. That way my quick weave won't go before it, and my parting is going to remain really crisp and straight and realistic. And then I took my hair. I have Brazilian straight hair from Trendy Beauty, and it's really freaking beautiful. Like I cut the widths and there's no shedding, but basically I had to cut the widths for this quick weave. But before I even cut the widths, I had to measure it out. So I had to measure where my part was at and how much hair I wanted in one row. So I kept on going in rows going upwards. So after I measured it out, I took some glue, and I'm going to show you guys how I glued this down, because oh my god, it was a struggle. So I can't see the back of my head, right? Like duh. So what I had to do was basically hold down the tracks where the white eyeliner started, and I held it for about like 5 seconds, and then I had to feel in between where I wanted my tracks to lay at, because I didn't want there to be too much distance between each track, and I didn't want it to be, I wanted it all laying like a U shape, and I didn't want it to be all like uneven and whatnot. So I had to get a lot of glue on my hands, y'all. Like I had to. There was no preventing it, because you know I wanted to maintain that U shape, and I wanted it to be enough space in between each track. That way, you know, it didn't look too bulky in each area. I know it looked bulky in that one clip, but that's because that's where my braids ended at, and that's where it got the most bulkiest at. But after I was done the quick weave, everything just looked really smooth and pretty and nice. And like I said, this part is pretty easy, but you have to take your time and make sure you're not cutting too much, and make sure you're not going over that white eyeliner, because that really helped me. Like I don't know where I would be without that white eyeliner. So after I was done, as you can see, it turned out pretty smooth. Like, you know, the back of my head was laying pretty freaking flat, you know. So the last step for that quick weave is to basically cut that wig cap off. And once you cut it off, you really I want to emphasize you could not see the tracks like at all. I really could not see the tracks. I couldn't even see the wig cap. I didn't even have to cut too much or cut too close to the hair because everything was black and sort of just blended in, honestly. Like, that's the gist of it. So after I was done cutting the wig cap, I'm going to show you guys how straight my parting looks because I followed the outline of my part, and if it didn't look straight, I just kind of pushed it back a little bit, and that was usually because of the wig cap. So I just kind of pushed it back with my nails, and voila, it was straight. And now I'm showing you guys what I did with my leave out. If you do decide to have leave out, I don't suggest it, but if you do want some, I clipped it to the back of my head to flat iron later, and I started working on the front of my head. And I started to do triangle parts because I felt like I wanted some, just like a little bit of design happening. Like, I felt like the half up, half down style was going to be way too boring. So I just made these triangle parts, put some edge control at the parts, and brushed through it to make sure it was nice and neat looking. And then I just put a rubber band on it. Make sure your rubber band is not too tight, bruh. Keep in mind it's a half up, half down style. So once you put your hair into these rubber bands, if you decide to do this little design, you have to keep in mind you're about to put it into another elastic band, and there's going to be a lot of tension on your head, and it's going to lead to breakage. So I'd say, you know, go around with the rubber band at most 5 times, but nothing more than that. There's also the clear rubber bands you can use. I said in my other video, but I never have them. I'm always using the wrong rubber bands. But they're supposed to help with the tension and make sure your hair doesn't break off, you know. So now I'm showing you guys how I build on the triangle parting, and I'd say once you do the first 2 or 3, the first 2 or 3 triangles are going to be so freaking hard because you're not going to know where to put them. But after you do the first 2 or 3, it gets easy. Like, everything else is easy because you start to kind of figure out the pattern you want to make, and you start to get a little bit spontaneous with it. And because I kind of wanted to show off the triangle pattern a little bit more, I went to the side of my forehead and just made a crisscross pattern with the triangle pattern so you could kind of see it a little bit more clear. Alright, I know I was doing a lot, but it really wasn't that much tension because I didn't put the rubber bands too tight, you know, so it was okay. Everything felt good. I'm very tender-headed, so I had to make sure there wasn't too much tension in my head. So after that, I put my hair into a big elastic band, and I made that elastic band tight, and I made a braid going backwards. Make sure your braid is going back so it's not too stiff looking because you're going to be wrapping the tracks around this braid. I think it's called the ladder method, where you pin the track onto the braid, and then you start wrapping it around the braid going upwards. That way you have like this nice layered look to your ponytail. So right now you see me pinning the track somewhere in the middle of that braid and then just wrapping it around and struggling to stay in frame. Oh my god, and I was really struggling to stay in frame to show you guys, but it was kind of hard to show you. But basically I'm going to be wrapping it going upwards, and I'm wrapping it tightly around that braid. That way it will not come loose. And if you feel like you need it a little bit more tight, just keep putting pins in it as you wrap it upwards. I'd say put maybe 2 or 3 because you don't want that ponytail to be too stiff. But after I was done wrapping it, it looked a hot mess. It looked a hot mess. So I had to take some hair from the back of the ponytail and wrap it around and kind of give it a little bit of a stand to it. That way the ponytail looked more realistic and it covered the track. And I just basically took some of the hair from the back, sprayed it with a little bit of spritz, and started to wrap it around the track. I want to emphasize, don't waste your time using the ladder method if you have really thick or coarse hair, because it's not going to lay straight when you're doing this half up, half down. I'd say just do a really, really small bun at the top of your head and, you know, wrap the track around per usual. Right now I'm just showing you guys how it looked flat iron versus how it looked when I put like little wand curls in it. And I really liked it both ways. I don't I don't know which one to choose, but when I put the wand curls in and some clips in my hair and did my edges a little bit, this hairstyle came to life. This hairstyle looks so freaking pretty. I loved it so much. I'm going to keep this in wand curls. I was never a girl who liked really flat hair, so obviously I'm going to keep it in these wand curls. And I'm going to show you guys a close-up of this quick weave. The quick weave is not going to show through at all. Look at that. The way the hair is laying, it's always going to be at the front of the quick weave or at the front of the part so you can barely see it, and if you do see it, it just blends so effortlessly. Then I put this hair into like these really small flexi rods. I think it's the turquoise and yellow ones, and oh, I really freaking like it so much. Oh my gosh, I love volume. I love the flat hair. I love the wand curls. I loved every part of this hairstyle, honestly. Like, I don't know which one to choose, because then I put it into like this nice top bun, and basically you guys let me know which one you like more. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, y'all.